Okay, we're sort of live. I'm just going to get the moderation controls done. No, don't want studio mode. Here we go. I'll be right back. Okay, that took a while. We'll see how this goes. Okay, so what we're doing tonight is essentially just working on my my Redbox project, which is essentially just a reimagining or redo of the basic set for D&D for a new generation of players. The challenging part is whether or not my existing player base would even consider migrating. I guess one of the challenging things about this whole project is somehow convincing players that they might enjoy the game better now that they've had a sort of peek inside of Pandora's box. I don't know what the feel is. My guess is that once they've seen what they can play, which is 5th edition D&D, they're not going to actually want to go back and play a game that kind of reduces a lot of the bloat down to simpler rules. But we'll see. One experiment that I might have, that I might try and do, is I might try and take one of my existing campaigns and put it into this rule set. Now, one of the challenges right now that I have, and I'm just going to check to see how many. Okay, yeah, there's no viewers. So one of the challenges that I've got right now is whether or not I move beyond the rules as written for original Redbox D&D and implement some of the things that players are used to. That being, different races. Like currently there's not even races in the game, right? There's classes. So there's elves, halflings, and dwarves. Those are demi-humans, and that's all the demi-humans that exist. So how do I bring other demi-humans into the existing game without unbalancing it, but at the same time honoring the rule set? So if you're not familiar with D&D in its original form, not Advanced Dungeons & Dragons, but Redbox D&D, and I guess I'll just call it BX D&D. Let's see what the term for it is. What do you call original Redbox D&D? Back me. Back me D&D. Okay, I'll just call it basic D&D. Yeah, so okay, so let's just take, for example, you have Dragonborn. How did they create an elf and say this is what an elf is without saying it's a race, and you can play an elf fighter, an elf magic user, an elf rogue, an elf It's just an elf is an elf. So what makes a Dragonborn, I guess, is the question, right? I think the biggest challenge will be players having to get used to having those concepts combined into one, as opposed to having two choices at the beginning, right? They're just faced with one choice. what do you want to play? Part of the simplicity and the awesomeness of it. But for new player, for players that are used to 5e, it's going to be a real big change. So, well, my little cat has decided to join us. So let's just stick with the basics for what we know, and we'll start talking about some of the challenges that I might have as we go and move past the original material as written. So the goal here is to just get information brought over in a very simplified manner, a manner that can be digested, and again, no bloat is sort of the goal. So right now I'm working on Elf, and you can see that I'm using AI artwork, and I talked about in my latest video that I uploaded. You know, I'm trying to use it responsibly. Now, not all of this AI artwork is going to be perfecto, and you know, being that it isn't a Google Doc, I can replace it on a whim. So you know, if there's something that doesn't quite look right, but I'm just basically going for tone as I am for anything else, really. Trying to get a general feel for players. So I'm going to use the previous template that I have with the fighter, and I'm going to start carrying over some of that, just copy and paste stuff. So that I can speed the process up a little bit. So after that is the experience table for elves. So I'll just go down one, paste that in. Now, one of the things that is different with original D&D is that there is different experience levels for the different classes. So everything is not all identical. So in this case here, we have an elf, and they're at 0, 4,000, and 8,000. So 0, 4,000, and 8,000. You know, and looking at these tables, it's kind of scary to think that, and why do I have... Yeah, I'm going to have to grow these tables bigger. I'm just putting up the level 3 for now, which is just in the basic book, but eventually I will go and put the full tables in. Perfect. Okay. So yeah, for now I'm just keeping it at 3, and then I'll bump it up. So yeah, for now I'm just keeping it at 3, and then I'll bump it up. Okay, let's have a look and see. So 1, 2, 3. So a veteran, medium, warrior, seer. I always love titles. Swordmaster, conjurer. I always love titles. Yeah, so classic Dungeons and Dragons went all the way up to level 36. So that was a thing. But interesting thing, like you look at experience points, right? So you know, 4,000 experience points to get to level 2. You know, I can give an example. I'm just going to look reference-wise some hit
Yeah,
points.
so classic Dungeons and Dragons went all the way up to level 26. So that was I think like you look at experience points, right? So 4,000 experience level 2.
Well, not too bad, I guess. Like a hill giant.
Reference-wise, some hit points.
A hill giant comes in at 2,300 experience points. You know, it's a pretty vicious foe, though. But yeah, 2,300 for that. 125 for gelatinous cube. When you look at goblins being there's like 5 experience points for one goblin. So you fight like 10, that's 50 experience points. I can't remember if that was just a house rule that my dungeon master came up with back in the day, but I seem to remember there being, well, he said every time you get a piece of gold that counts as 1 experience. But this has been so long, I can't even remember now. But I think that was a house rule. Let me just double check. Yeah, I like that. Experience from treasure. Oh, yeah, each gold piece value of treasure when a character, won by a character, is 1 XP earned by the characters. Cool. Yeah, I remember those days. Going in and getting like 1,000 gold pieces and then going up like tons of levels. So that's cool. Yeah, another. I guess maybe that's interesting, eh? Like that's why maybe gold was a motivating factor back then. I mean, nowadays I find in my games that gold doesn't motivate the players. I've talked about this at length in my videos, is that there's literally no economy in D&D right now. There's no need for money. You don't need to replace your equipment. You don't need to, you don't need to buy new equipment. And outside of building stuff, there's no value to having money. So, progression. There you go. Okay, let's keep working. Okay. Pretty boring stuff if you're watching me do this. So ideally, the reason why I'm doing this is to put myself out there and start trying to build a stream audience on YouTube, not Twitch, but on YouTube, just to see if maybe viewers want to tune in to talk to me. You've seen some of my videos, and maybe you just want to get a sense of what I'm doing or what's going through my brain in regards to Dungeons and Dragons. So this would be a great time. Streaming is always a good way to reach out to your audience, and it's one of those things that I've wanted to do, but really haven't. So this is, like I said, just me kind of putting my foot forward. If you are watching and you want to chat, fire away in the chat, and I'm the only one here right now moderating, so you'll get me as opposed to a moderator. But like I said, it's gonna be pretty boring, so I'll stop over a few moments to chat. And if you don't hear me talking for a little bit, it's because I'm focusing on this. But yeah, if you have any questions, I'd love to hear it. So see, I've got somebody watching. Hey, thank you for tuning in late at night. It's 10:19 where I am. All I'm doing is going back and forth referencing my previous format that I did with the fighter, because I want to maintain that consistency for people who are going to read this document. I hope people read this document. I did put this document on my latest video, which means if you are watching, if you saw that video, you can actually click the link and it'll take you into a view only of this document. So the idea is that over time this document will grow, and people who have added it and bookmarked it can actually access it. I probably will at some point make a copy so that my original doesn't get affected, and put that out there for the community so they can fiddle around with it if they want, make a copy. I just worry that people will go and mess around with it and it'll ruin it. So let's talk titles. You're going to hear me hating on 5th edition probably a lot. I'm not hating on 5th edition. It's not that I hate 5th edition, and I'm not one of these guys that's like all about the hate. But it's neat to see, as I'm doing this project, what's been lost and taken away, and what's been put in its place. So it's a really kind of a neat, it's just kind of a neat perspective. One of those things is titles. So for me, titles I thought was a cool thing. Back when I first started playing D&D, rather than referencing your character by level, they provided titles. And it helped in the role play. And like they say here, title, your elf should use this title when talking to other characters. Instead of saying, I'm Belrain, a second level elf, the character should say, I'm Belrain the Warrior Seer. So there's definitely some RP going on there. I think that's cool. Not that players would do that, but I think if you give them the option to have a title, I think that would help them. Okay, other details. Did I do the other details of the fighter? No. Oh yeah, I did. Okay, so I just made that bigger. And again, I'm just using the, is that, what are they? Other details. Oh, just made it bigger. 20 size. Okay, I didn't turn it into a subtitle. Just made it bigger. There we go. I used Google Drive, or I'm using Google Drive, because it's a pretty much anybody can use it, and it just saves. I mean, I can save this into a PDF and send it out to the community as well. But being cloud-based means I can add to it without having to go through that saving process, and it kind of becomes a living document, and everybody can access it, right? So you know, they can, yeah. This is a non-linear format of Google Docs, which means I can create these sub-pages and stuff quite easily. You'll see over here, I can zip these up. So when the final thing is done, it'll be very organized. You can go right to the page you want. So yeah, hopefully that works out. So we've got an elf here. Okay, so prime requisites. Okay, so just bolding them. I'll probably have this all memorized by the time I finish this doc. Unfortunately, I'm pulling, well, what I'm doing is I'm copying and pasting a lot of this content from the actual PDFs that I own, and of my sets, and then I'm filling in the blanks as I go, based on, you know, how I would want to explain it to someone. As a new player, or how I'm going to explain it to my group. I don't think my players are going to want to endorse me with this. I think they're going to I think they're just going to look at it and go, Dwayne's kind of crazy. But the truth is, like, when I'm playing my sessions, I mean, point in case, last campaign I did, you know, they were all level 10, and nobody had a clue about what they could do. They had no clue about the extent of their abilities. They just basically, you know, rock'em sock'em robot pretty much everything. They just did their basic attacks and stuff, because either A, they were too intimidated by all the options, or it was just too exhausting, and they said, I'm just going to do the basic stuff. So I mean, that tells me that's you know, you shouldn't ignore stuff like that. That tells me that either the game is too complex, or they don't care about that kind of stuff. But if that's the case, if it is too complex and they don't care about that stuff, that's a perfect reason to maybe look at a different game. But if not a different game, look at how D&D can be played and still have it be called D&D and all the basics of D&D, which they know, rolling D20, stuff like that, without having to relearn an entirely new system. Yeah, so that's sort of where my thought is right now with these things. Okay, I think my elf is almost done. I'm going to stay away from doing cut and paste character classes. I'm going to try and tackle different topics. There's a lot to cover, so I'm going to see if I'm finished up with the elf. The saving throw table, which I haven't filled in yet. But the elves have special abilities. So I'm going to go down and put that there. But with elves, I have special abilities. Here we go. Okay. Go up to 20. There we go. Bullet point these. Hopefully, I've archived this, so I will put this up on the channel. After this stream is done, and it might get some traction as a video. And if that's the case, great, and hopefully people will want to tune in and see more streams. Yeah. Nothing too crazy going on screen. It's just me doing my thing. The main idea of this is just to get some people out here engaging with me. In a world of doing more exciting things, I'm sure I could have lots of cool stuff going on, playing some video games or what have you. But this is what I'm doing tonight. Lots of copy and pasting going on. But with each copy and paste, I get a little bit closer to completing the project. I do periodically get new students, so I'm really curious to see if I was to, yeah, it's a weird thing. I don't know. It's out of all of this, it'd be different if this wasn't my business. This isn't what I did for a living, and then I would be, you know, able to play. I mean, you know, if I was playing an online game or something, say, hey, do you want to play this? Do you want to play that? But it isn't, and I have to be aware of the fact that I'm providing a service to people, but at the same time, they may expect certain things. They might expect, you know, to be playing a certain version of the game or something like that, and then, you know, am I going to be hurting myself if I don't, kind of thing. Vision, languages, and detection. Hey, vision, languages, and where is this detection? Here we go. Just bolding out this stuff. I'm going to go down like this, and then that way it's all broken up. Part of this is formatting as well, right? These original books weren't formatted like newer books are. Immunity and spells. Oh. There's an example up here. Examples. Where did that example go? Oh, I didn't clip it this way. Okay. So that's it for elves as we are. I may end up having to decide to format. I'm not sure if I'm going to actually put everything pertaining to an elf under the elf character sheet section, or if I should break it up and put it into a different page. The idea is that this page would be a one-shop stop for making your elf character. But it might be a little too overwhelming. If I just broke it up, it might be better. So we'll see how that goes. But I am going to stop there. Fighter, done. Elf, done. Thief, done. So from a visual standpoint, all of this is done. There's just some innate stuff that I might have to look at. So let's go through the book and see if there's anything else I can do tonight. The basics and such. Using dice, rolling for ability scores. Could do a page on the strength and stuff. Maybe I'll do that. Yeah, let's do ability scores. Okay, so it's kind of a simple, section, but worthwhile to do. So let's add that. I'm going to go up to here under how to play, and I'm going to add another subtype called ability scores description. Hey viewer. Oh, you jumped in and jumped out before I could even say hi. So let's go and put that up here. Ability scores. Okay. Okay, I'm going to do some free form. I'm going to do some free, what do you call it? Freestyling, rather than copying and pasting. This is where my own language starts to come in. Ability scores are the way that you define your character's physical and mental attributes. Not to be confused with personality and morals. Is that right? You also see me making a lot of typos. So as as I go along here, please don't shift into autocorrect mode. Hello viewers, thanks for tuning in. It's Dwayne here. Just working on my Redbox project. If you haven't watched my last video, maybe jump in and go ahead and have a look, but that would explain what I'm doing. But essentially, the gist of it is I am updating for my own purposes the old Dungeons and Dragons books, so that my players can actually experience D&D the way that I experienced it. Right. These scores are more concrete and provide players. Yeah, I also type really loud too. Very loud. Players with a framework to start building their adventure. There we go. There's some free form, some freestyle. Perfect. Okay. Dungeons and Dragons has six ability scores that are defined below. How about that for some freestyle? Some Dwayne's version of it. Okay, let's start with them. Let's go. I'm going to try some AI thing. You ready for this? For those of you watching, you're like, oh no, he's using AI. We're going to try it out and see. Okay, ready? 6 ability scores that are defined below. Let's start with strength. Strength. And that's going to be a subtitle right there. Apply a subtitle. Okay. And now I'm going to go up to Gemini and get her to help me. There we go. So write a definition of the strength ability in Dungeons and Dragons. Here we go. Ugh, I'm gonna get so much hate for doing this. Okay, so here's the AI pitch for me. I'm using it, but I'm using it to improve my workflow, to get more content created for myself. I don't use it in my YouTube videos. I don't generate images on my YouTube videos. I do all that myself in Photoshop. But for writing, I've recently started using it to help me write my adventures, and also my artwork. So, I'm sure at some point I'm going to lose viewers because I'm using AI, but it's the world that we're in. So I'm going to try this. There we go. Okay, let's go to dexterity now. I'm going to do that again. Dexterity. Let's make that a subtitle. And here we go. Start the hate machine. Write a description of dexterity ability in Dungeons and Dragons. That hasn't changed over the years, so here we go. Okay, now we're going to do Constitution. the Constitution. And I'm going to put some artwork in here as well. Strength, constitution, dexterity, intelligence. Wisdom. Charisma. The other thing that I have when I do this is like how much artwork. If you look at the original books, they had a lot of I'm surprised. I mean, you know, as a young kid reading through that stuff, it was just slogs and slogs of text broken up by some black and white artwork. It got worse as it went on, especially with advanced D&D. There wasn't as much artwork, but those original box sets are actually pretty good. They had a lot of inspiring artwork, but no color artwork and stuff, right? So part of what I liked about it is when you were reading it, the artwork was relevant to what you were reading. So you might see a little black and white piece of artwork from Elmore or Eastleigh, which really, you know, fit the passage that you're reading. So if you're reading up on armor, for example, he had a little illustration of like this guy shopping for armor. So I liked how they did that. I'm going to do the same thing here as we go along here. So I'm just going to finish off this section. Okay. Whew. And again, doing this instead of copying pasting means that maybe it's a little bit more fresh in the wording rather than just taking it. This whole project is not to actually just clone the original books. There's a little bit more to it. I wanted to bring them forward for players, for myself and my players, but modernize them a bit as far as the writing and the way that things are taught. I have a very specific way that I like to introduce things, and of course the people who wrote the books back then did as well. So for me, that's me putting my own little stamp on this. Go. Nice to see that I get people jumping in and out. Thank you for those of you who are. I barely get a chance to say hello before you jump out. But again, the whole point of this wasn't to get a huge viewer following. It's just to sort of get my feet wet and start doing this. And lastly, charisma. But again, yeah, I'm just trying to put my foot in the water of streaming. Tonight's stream is basically just my my first step in doing that. Letting people see a little bit of my personality as well. Just pretty stale. Okay, so now that we've got this, I'm going to insert some artwork to make this a little bit more readable, and rather than just a big giant wall of text. Hey, hello there. Thanks for tuning in. I'm just gonna add in some artwork here, so look away if AI artwork burns your retinas, because that's what I'm about to do. I'm not going to do a piece of artwork for every single one, because again the idea is to make this readable and not just overwhelming. So what I'm going to do is I'll pick on some key ones. So let's start with strength. So you can see how I do this through my own descriptions. So I'm going to go draw a strong fantasy if you're curious about how this works, Fantasy Warrior. Flexing his, we'll see what this comes up with. Flexing his muscles. And I'll go draw in a, I like using this prompt, in a stylized fantasy art style. Draw with a white background. Let's see what this turns up. Do you ever get hungry when you're in a creative? I think that's my problem with my nighttime eating problem, is that when I get creative. Oh, here we go. So again, having fun with AI. Here's some AI artwork. Is this one? That one? That one? Yeah, let's go with, I don't know, which one do you think I should go with? I'm going to do another view more and see if there's more here. I just put a generic warrior term. This guy down on the bottom looks a little bit too armored up, but you know, cool. Guy down there, no, I'm not feeling that. It's like Gaston from Beauty and the Beast. That guy with the double pump looks interesting, but yeah, so far this is winning it for me, only because it's pretty cool. Let's see what else it comes up with. Oh, lots of woodland stuff here. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know why it did the woodland stuff. Yeah, okay. Just ditch that and see. Not loving that batch. So far this is doing it for me, but we'll see what comes up. For those of you joining, hello, my name is Dwayne. I'm got a little project I'm working on this evening, so thanks for tuning in, taking time out of your life this late at night to see what I'm up to. Oh, here we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Again, the double pumping. I guess that's the whole flexing pose that I asked for. So let's see. Maybe too dramatic. Yeah. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. Those are too wild. The thing with AI art is you end up just going down this rabbit hole. Let's go view more. Again, let's see. Anyway, the reason why I'm doing this stream tonight, for those of you watching, is just to make some friends. No, actually, it's just to sort of get the community knowing a little bit more about me and what goes through my head when I start talking about Dungeons and Dragons. And yeah, if you have any questions about what I do and you know why I'm doing this, that would be another reason, just to build the brand, so to speak. So I'm just taking a quiet evening to myself to work on this. That is interesting. I think I might go with that one. Yeah, you know what? Ditch that. I think that's my guy right there. I don't know if I just find it again. Which one was it? It was that one? Well, there was swords in a weird spot, so I'm not too sure. Maybe just that. Let's see. I don't know. It's tough. Too many ruins. Too much going on there. Let's just try another view more and see. Who would have thought that just getting maybe my description is off. If you've got a better prompt for, I got draw a fantasy warrior flexing his muscles. Drawn a style. Maybe I'll just go, instead of flexing his muscles, I'll say showing his strength. Oh, here we go. There's some interesting ones. Yeah. Yeah, maybe, yeah, maybe that one. Okay. Yeah, there we go. Like I said, this is just basically about getting a sort of a feel, a vibe for people who are going to read this document. We're not looking for like the best art or a perfect piece of art, but just as people are reading this document, having a visual is always a good thing. So let's do another one. I don't want to do all of them, but let's do another one. Let's do charisma, and let's do one for intelligence. So we'll have 3 illustrations on this page. Let's go down here in charisma. We're going to put this at the bottom. What could I do for charisma? Anybody got any ideas about what kind of prompt I would use for charisma? Maybe a female. Let's do a female right now. Okay, draw a female rogue. Talking to, and again, AI does require imagination, right? So I have to use my imagination to create these prompts. Talking to a human warrior. The warrior is smitten. Let's see if AI knows the word smitten. Is smitten with the female rogue. Let's see what this pops up. I'm going to do this one wide though, because it is the last one on the page. So let's see what that looks like. Put that right down at the bottom. Okay, that's cool. Some good ones here, eh? Okay, so we've got 4. Starting from the top, get any opinions on which one you think would be better? The top one looks a little bit too modern. She's got a little bit of a Catwoman thing going on there. I don't like the full body shot. Second one looks cool. Third one, I think I'm going to go with the third one. I think that's where I'm going. I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that. I'm not going to take that, but I will take that. If nothing else, these players might appreciate the work that I'm putting into this. But it's all about creating a vibe. It's all about creating a tone. So part of what I want to bring to this project is when I was young and I cracked open my red box, the artwork, just everything. It captured my imagination in a way that I can't really describe, and I thank God that it did, because I think that was my entry point into this hobby. And if it didn't grab me like that, I don't think I'd be playing it to this day. So very cool. The artwork did a lot to do that. I mean, I'm a visual guy anyway, so toys and all that back in the day, I walked through a toy store and that's it, I'm done kind of thing. Okay, so we have one more image. Again, this page here, I don't want to have like an image for every single one. Maybe I should stop at 2. Yeah, you know what? Maybe I'll stop at 2. 2's good. We've got 2 images here that we can go on. But I do want to add more to this section. So under ability scores description, I've got the description, but I also want to include the table that's going to give players an idea of the better score, and also rolling for these attributes. So let's do a divider line. This is all part of the formatting process, right? So let's do a divider line. This is like how to write a document Dwayne style. You're going to see how my brain works. But let's create let's create a new title, and let's call it rolling for ability scores. Rolling for ability scores. And let's create that as a title. The reason why you have to do it this way is because when you do it this way, it actually formats it in the sidebar so that you can find this information. So for example, I'm going to close these all up. If you go to how to play, for example, and then you go to ability scores, you click on it and it opens up the subtitles or the subcategories, right? So now we have ability scores, takes us there. Then we have rolling for ability scores, takes us there. So this is the part where we talk about the format. Now, traditionally, there's a lot of different ways. I'm going to copy and paste I'm going to copy and paste this as opposed to freeforming it. So I'm going to go into my reference document, which is my D&D basic set, the very first box set that I ever got. And I'm going to go down to the part where you roll for ability scores. If there is a spot for this, making a character. Again, could show you this, but yeah. Hello, viewers. Thanks for tuning in. It's Dwayne here. Just so you know that I'm alive, I'm going to type hello in the chat. That's me. So thanks for tuning in this late at night. I think they have the picking the class stuff. I don't know if the ability score portion came first. What came first, the chicken or the egg? Oh, hold on. No, they just talked about that. Yeah, so the roll, you picked your class, and I guess then you rolled for your ability. I remember back in the day, you'd roll your ability scores and then pick your class based on what you rolled. Because if you rolled crappy, you maybe didn't get to play the class that you wanted to. But then I started realizing that was just stupid, so we kind of started fudging things. But I do want to see what they wrote. Hit roll chart, saving throw, what they had for roll for hit points. Did they even have a set? Here we go. Ah, perfect. Exchange, supposed to raise your prime roll. Okay, but they still don't have a section. Here we go. Yeah. Roll for ability scores. Okay. So I'm going to copy this section from the original book and format that. There we go. Like I said, I'm trying to honor the original document, but at the same time update it and give it a new flair. If you have any questions about what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, or just anything D&D related, throw it up in chat. Part of why I'm doing this tonight is just to have some conversations. I'm up here late at night doing nothing, so I thought I might as well stream myself doing nothing. And then maybe somebody will tune up or turn up and want to have a chat with me. If you haven't already checked out my YouTube channel, that would be a good thing to do as well. A lot of my videos are not streams. They're, obviously me talking to a camera by myself and then going into the editing room. But if you like that sort of thing more, then by all means, check out my channel, like and subscribe, click on those notifications so that you see. I'm getting better, but I'm trying to figure out a way that I can make content a little bit more frequently for my community. But right now I'm like once every 2 weeks, I try to do once a week, but I'm kind of failing in that. Why is there a number 1 there? Oh, okay. Here we go. That was just step 1. Roll for ability scores. I'll get rid of that. Okay. Instead of just making up numbers for your ability scores, you will roll dice to find each score. This is done by rolling the 6-sided dice 3 times and adding the results. Or, if you have other 6-sided, roll 3 dice together. For example. And I'm not necessarily adhering to any of the the proper rules of formatting. You're going to just see me do random bolds and stuff like that, but if you have any questions or you just want to tell me what you're working on, that's another thing that's cool. I always like to hear about stuff that other players are working on. Also wondering what you guys' thoughts are on Daggerheart. I picked that game up and I'm moving forward with it to create some content as well as starting a Daggerheart game with my family. But again, because this is what I do for a living, I haven't really decided how it's going to factor into my business. So yeah, kind of just keeping an eye on how I want to implement it. You should roll what's going to make you the creator, should probably sort of adventuring. However, before you should ask your dungeon master what to do, your demon probably okay. Okay. So again, I'm just pulling this from, I'm just pulling this from the existing document. They have it step by step, so I'm not doing that. Let's put a piece of art down here at the very bottom. Again, I love art, and this will sometimes help. So I'm going to go back to my generator, and let's create a new piece of art. Let's say draw a hand rolling 3 6-sided dice onto a table. On the table is a piece of paper and a pencil. Spelled piece wrong. Okay, I'm going to go draw in a stylized art style. This could be realistic. I don't want it to be realistic, but we'll see. And I'm going to do this one as a wide. I didn't tell it to do a cartoon art style, but I'm a comic book guy in my heart. So for me, this art style is sort of what helps and gets my imagination rolling. I could have went with like real fantasy art style, like hardcore like that, but I don't know, just didn't I don't know, I just don't think it fits with my tone. You know, and then when you make things really realistic, people start like scrutinizing it more too, because they're like, oh, it's AI, it looks real, I'm gonna see if I can find the flaw. Oh yeah, it's a flaw. So I want to go with a little bit more stylized look. Here we go. Let's see. There's this one. I don't like the picking up. I like the, yeah, and then there's the ladies version. Let's try another round, shall we? Let's see. I don't like that. It's got the magic effects. I'm not too sure about that. That one's weird. He's got a cuff like he's wearing a suit. I like that. Well, here we go. Let's see. It's with a snake. Yeah, that's cool. You know what? I'm gonna go with. I'm gonna tweak it a little bit. So on the table is a Dungeons and Dragons character sheet. There we go. Let's see if that comes up with something different. And then we'll close off the rolling for ability score section. Got some interesting ones here. That looks okay. No, the dice are weird on that one. That one's not all 6-sided. Let's go with that one at the very bottom for now. No, I can't because it's not all 6-sided dice. Now, maybe I'll just go back to this one. Yeah. There we go. A little more cartoony than I wanted to go, but you know, it's fine. So that closes off that section, which is ability scores, a definition of them, and how to roll for them. Don't know if there's any, is there anything else that I need to put in this section? For those of you watching, do you want to just give me a tip here? Basically, I'm just sort of recreating that section of the book. And oh, you know what I didn't do? I didn't do the chart. So let me freestyle that. I'm going to put the chart before that, before the illustration. So that's the chart showing your ability modifiers. So I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 2 columns. So I'm going to create a table and call it bonus and penalties for ability scores. Bonus and penalties for ability scores. For those of you just watching and you're wondering what the hell I'm doing, I'm rewriting the original D&D basic set and updating it in my own language, and adding new artwork and stuff to hopefully convince my players that less is more, and we don't need D&D 5e to enjoy Dungeons and Dragons. And I'm going to try and use artwork and my own way of presenting the book to show them that. So here we go. This is going to be applied title, and the following table shows you what kind of modifier you will add or subtract to your dice rolls when performing actions or attacking in combat. I'm freestyling this right now. What kind of modifiers do you add or switch to your dice rolls when performing actions as attack competent? Your ability scores influence a lot of things in the game, and whenever you are asked to add an ability modifier, you should consult this table. Better yet, write your modifier down on your character sheet beside your ability scores. I can be a little bit more cheeky with my writing because I'm not publishing it. Okay, and that table is going to be 8 by 2. Go right here and type in ability score. Something beautiful about the simplicity of D&D Basic and adjustment. Oh, I'm going to use the word modifier. Current lingo. I'm going to make these bigger though. Okay. Two to three, 4 to 5, so it's 2 to 3. And I'm just referencing this because it's been so many decades since I played it. 4 to 5. And they change every edition too. 6 to 8, 9 to 12. 6 to 8. 18. 6 to 8. 9 to 12. 13 to 15. 16 to 17, and then just 18. You know, and one of the cool things about revisiting this game is I found, like, back when I played D&D when I was younger, every die roll was an important roll. Like, it wasn't just a tedious thing. It's like when you picked up that 20-sided dice and you rolled it, things hung in the balance. You essentially knew that, this was it, right? Like you weren't just gonna auto hit, right? There was a certain amount of luck and hope and prayers that was going into every roll. Nowadays with D&D 5e, I find that the bonuses are just so incremental that it's almost like you're guaranteed success, and very rarely will you fail. Or at least that's the feeling, right? So the weight of that die isn't as dramatic as it was when you played earlier versions of D&D, mainly because there wasn't as many bonuses. There wasn't a lot of things that modified the dice, right? So your attacks, there were no proficiency bonuses back in the old days. So you had your strength. There wasn't any finesse where you could swap out your dexterity, right? The rules as written back then weren't refined enough to look at the fact that maybe daggers and short swords and stuff would use a different attribute to attack with. Something that I maybe might consider adding into this game. I'm not sure. But either way, there wasn't a plethora of bonuses and modifiers. You had your ability modifier. There were no proficiencies. So it's kind of an interesting way. There was no expertise, right? So just interesting in that, like the dice roll carried more weight when it came to actually picking up that dice and rolling it. So I'm going to add in modifiers here. So we've got -3 penalty. So I'm just going to go -3. Maybe I'm just going to, I don't know if I'm just going to put the actual number rather than, because we already said it's modifier at the top. So -3, -2, and then I'm assuming -1. And then no adjustment or no modifier. For those of you tuning in, thank you. It's Dwayne here, and I'm just doing my thing here late at night at 11:11 at night, at least on the Pacific Coast. If you're tuning in from a different time zone, then it's probably later for you. +1, +2, +3. Okay, so +1, +2, +3. I think one of the challenges that's going to come about with this, and I think this is probably where the current versions of D&D have really screwed players up, is that the flavor of a character in new D&D is baked in. And what I mean by that is I'm a Dragonborn warlock, or better yet, for the third level, I'm a Dragonborn warlock Psyblade. That defines their character. Because guess what? There's a lot of meat on that bone that you can imagine with, right? Whereas older D&D characters in basic is like, I'm a fighter. Well, yeah, you're a fighter, and a million other people are fighters in the game world. What makes your fighter different? Without subclassing, I mean, they did have sort of subclassing at 9th level, but without subclasses, now it's left to the player to sort of make his fighter stand out. How do you do that, right? Because really, from level to level, you're not gaining abilities every level. You're not gaining more. You're getting hit points, and you're acquiring treasure and items. So your possessions maybe kind of dictate you as a character. But now it's left to the player to sort of make their character unique. Yeah, you're a thief, and so's a thief. But what makes your thief different than his thief? Without access to all these extra rules and subclasses and options, you now have to turn to story and narrative and role play and visuals and imaginative play to make this thief different and stand out. And I think that's going to be the big challenge. They're going to be like, oh, a fighter. Well, what else is he? He's just a fighter? No. You make him. You still have complete autonomy to go ahead and make your fighter the way you want to make him. Just because the rules don't lay out all these options for you doesn't mean that you can't iterate and design them differently. I think we're done. I think this section is completely fine now. We've got ability scores, bonus and penalties, which is its own section. So I think at the end of the day, we've created a really great page for this. I might at some point actually go and create different cover art and print this off, and then just kind of stamp it with my own seal of approval and send it out to players and say, hey, guess what? Here's Dungeons and Dragons, the Maverick Games Dungeons and Dragons edition, or D&D Maverick Games edition, right? Edition 1. I think that's good. I'm going to go and do one more section here before I head to bed. So let's see, I have to work in the morning at 10 o'clock. I've got a tutoring session that I've got to do. So let's do one more section. So I've got ability scores, what they are. Oh, this is ability score descriptions. Okay. I have armor class. I have hit points. I have attack rolls. Is there anything out in the basic level stuff that needs to be done? Let's have a quick look and see. Rolling for money, buying equipment. There's obviously lots. Like, I've got a lot of stuff to do here, so I'm not going to just do it all at once and take my time with this. Prime requisites are a thing. Spells. I wonder if we should tackle money. Yeah, let's tackle money and buying equipment as a section. They put it as a section in the books, and it's going to have its own thing. I wonder if that should be bundled in with the equipment section altogether. I do have adventuring gear, so I'm wondering if maybe let's put that in this section. So let's do this. Oh. This guy oriented to the middle. Let's go like this. Get this down, and let's start with buying equipment. I'm going to do an AI prompt for this just to see what it comes up with. Okay. Write about why buying equipment in Dungeons and Dragons is important for a new adventure. Let's see what it comes up with. Wow, it comes up with a lot. Sure, let's use it and see. I'll read it out loud first, but let's use it. So first things first, I'm going to create these as titles. I haven't used headings. I wonder what headings are all about. I should look and see. And I'm going to bring the font size down so it's not on. Okay. The rest of this is going to go 13. Change the color. And oh, I like that. Thank you, AI. Okay, thank you for tuning in tonight, guys. Chat's a little quiet, so again, makes me feel good if you want to jump in and chat with me. If you are wanting to see this document rather than on screen, you can go to my YouTube channel, check out the latest video that I posted, and the link for the view only option is in that video. So or in the description of that video. So if you actually want to go and sort of see this up close as it evolves, I will probably make a copy of this with an editing option at some point. I'm not too sure. But for now, it's just going to be view only. So it says right here, for new adventures in Dungeons & Dragons, acquiring the right equipment is critical for survival and success. It's not just about role playing. Equipment directly affects characters' capabilities and effectiveness during gameplay. Love it. Enhanced combat prowess. Equipping weapons and armor significantly influences the character's ability to deal damage and withstand attacks. Basic weapons provide a means to engage in combat, while better weapons offer improved damage dice. Armor increases armor class, which determines how difficult it is for enemies to hit the character. Without adequate equipment, a new adventurer is vulnerable and ineffective in battles. Utility and problem solving. Beyond combat, various tools and gear can help overcome obstacles and solve problems, like rope, torches, thieves' tools provide solutions for different scenarios, such as climbing, exploring dark areas, or disarming traps. These items ensure adventurers are prepared for diverse challenges. Okay. Resource management. Consumables like potions and healing kits are essential for maintaining health during extended adventures. Food and water are needed to avoid exhaustion. Proper resource management through equipping and restocking these items allows adventurers to stay in the field longer and recover from setbacks. And then is my favorite here, role-playing enhancement. Equipment also plays a role in the character identity and role-playing. Specific items can reflect a character's background, profession, or personal preference. A scholar might carry books and writing materials, while a rogue, I'm going to change the wording here to reflect the current character class, as a magic user. Might carry books and writing materials, while a thief might have these items deepen immersion, add flavor to the character. Experience and wealth, investing in better equipment is a natural progression. Upgrading weapons, armor, and tools reflects character's advancement and prepares them for tougher challenges. This cycle of earning rewards and improving equipment keeps the gameplay engaging and rewarding. And you know, the funny thing is it even basic D&D didn't address. You know, I often joke with my players and say, you know, like, if you get a suit of leather armor on your first suit of leather armor, rules as written, there's no reason to ever replace that armor. Like, you don't need, there's no rules to accommodate wear and tear or need to get new armor. So it's interesting that they talk about, you know, buying new equipment and stuff like that. But really, at the end of the day, if you buy a sword and a suit of armor in D&D, unless the dungeon master gets really wily and tricky, you're never going to buy another one. So, you know, that's anyway. So here we go. This chart was a good ad. Like I said, thank you AI for that. And I'll cut that out and put it up here. Now let's get some art in here. Okay, so we do have art at the bottom. Oh, I'm going to change that color here. We do have art at the bottom, as we have an equipment list coming up after that. But let's throw a piece of art maybe around here in the middle to break up this wall of text. Well, maybe let's pick on resource management. Yeah, okay, so here we go. Let's do this. You can help me out with the prompts if you're watching. So I'm going to go here. Draw in a stylized fantasy art style. Draw a wooden table with a coiled rope and a potion and a what else? And a torch and a AI doesn't adhere to proper grammar, I don't think. It just looks for prompts. And I found that capitals is good because it knows it's like an item or something, or a thing. A torch and a what else? Rope, torch, potion, a map. A map. Anything else? Oh. And a water skin. Period. Okay, drawn a stylized financial. Let's go wide with this one. See what it comes up with. Okay, so this will be here. See, there's that. That. I like that one. There's that. I don't like that. Don't like that. And I don't know if I like that. And I'm going to generate instead of a torch. What else can we use instead of a torch? What are some common pieces of adventuring equipment? Feel free to throw any ideas in there for those of you who are watching. I'm going to look in my reference book and see. I'm going to see what kind of items might equipment. A pouch? A sack? Yeah, a sack and a quiver of arrows. Okay, here we go. And a capital X. Empty sack and a quiver of arrows. Okay, let's see what this comes up with. Yeah, I'm still thinking about that whole adding races into basic D&D. But races more so classes, like taking everything that is a certain race and sort of blending it into a usable class. Because again, basic D&D didn't have races; they were just all classes. Probably renaming the word class would be a better way to go. But either way, different demi-humans never made their way into the game. So, dwarves, elves, and halflings. That's it. I mean, goodbye tieflings, goodbye dragonborn, goodbye gnomes, dark elves. I mean, elves. What else? I mean, there's so many races in D&D that it's just out of control. So the question is where do you stop, right? Like, if you start adding in dragonborn, tiefling, like, why do you not have all the bazillion races, the tabaxis and all that D&D has? Is it, and that's the thing, like, where is that line between what people are playing D&D for? Are they playing D&D for the smorgasbord that it is? Or if somebody sat down at the table and said, hey, here's D&D, we're playing today, here's the adventure, you can choose to be the following, and that's D&D? Or do you sit there and whine and complain about the fact that you don't have more choices? That's sort of my dilemma that I'm faced with. In the meantime, let's have a look and see what these ones look like. This one looks interesting. Don't know if I like that quiver. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. I like that. Let's see here. Well, that's good too. I don't know why it's in the forest. Although I do like that last one. 2 quivers though, hey? No, I think I'm gonna go with, I don't know, there's a bunch of weird stuff there. I don't know what that is though. No, for sure. No, for sure. I definitely don't like the outdoors feel. This could be it. I mean, there's some weird stuff going on there. I just don't know what it is, but maybe that's okay. What is it doing? Oh, the water skin. Let's ditch the water skin. It's got a map. Okay, let's see what it does with that. I'll throw a big smile to you guys out there. Okay, I'm going to be getting closer here. Let's have a look and see what this looks like. Oh, that looks cool, although that's a weird quiver. They're doing some weird stuff there. Let's generate some more. I like the tone it's going for, but okay, let's, oh, okay. I just have to refresh the browser, so just give me a second here. Let's try wide. Okay, that's not bad. I think that's going to be a winner. Let's get in the right spot here. That one, I don't know. That wilderness thing is weird. Let's go with that one. Yeah. And let's get it in the middle. There we go. Just a simple picture. Perfect. So let's talk about how much gold players get. Let's go down here. Starting wealth for ventures. Subtitle. Are they all subtitles? Yeah, there's nothing there so far. Okay. Starting wealth for adventures. First level characters receive. Was it based on 3d6 and multiply by 10? Receive 3d6 times 10 pieces when they start their career. After rolling, you should record your gold on your sheet so that you can keep track of it as your adventures continue. You do not receive experience points for this initial allotment of gold, but moving forward, any gold you find will I'm going to put down in brackets see the section for details. Okay. Now I do have one thing I want to add. This is more for Dungeon Masters, but something worthwhile. Note, your Dungeon Master may actually role play a session of shopping with you as you outfit your character, or the starting gear may be equipment you have acquired already in your early days of being an adventurer. Either method is fine. I'll bold this. Now I'm not actually going to go and fill in this chart. Fill in this chart tonight, because I have a lot of different ideas on how I'm going to break all this down. I think I'm going to subdivide by weapons, armor, and gear. I'm going to get rid of this. I don't know why that's there right now. But weapons, armor, and gear. So I'm going to create subcategories. So like right now, for example, I'll do this and go weapons. And I'll create a title for that. And that will be a title. Wow, this is turning out really good. I'm quite happy with the progress so far. And I think I might actually go and print this out and hand deliver it. I think if I put my own stamp on it, I might have to create some artwork back up here for the artwork. I've called it Dungeons and Dragons, using this as a proxy, but you know, maybe the buy-in comes when I say, you know what, this is Dwayne's Dungeons and Dragons, like, or sorry, this is the Maverick Games Dungeons and Dragons. Like, people say, well, what D&D are you playing? Well, we're playing the Maverick Games Dungeons and Dragons, and we have a book that you'll get when you join the program, right? So it's not just me sort of whimsically grabbing stuff out of the ether and saying, hey, this is what we're going to do because somebody made this and I think it's better. It's maybe this takes on a life of its own and becomes, you know, the Maverick Games D&D format, which maybe encompasses more than the core did, the basic set, and maybe I've added some things in. Makes me realize that, you know, maybe I can use this as a foundation and then evolve it beyond that. But let's just have a quick look here. So I've got my how to play section, which is good. I've got my ability score descriptions, which we just did tonight. We've got armor class here. We've got hit points, attack rolls, basic section so far on attack rolls, character classes, just an intro to character classes, and then specifically the fighter, the elf, the thief. I haven't done anything for cleric really, except, oh, I did, yeah, okay, I got the cleric, the basic stuff down for the cleric. Nothing for the magic user, halfling, dwarf. You know, let's pump some, just to finish off the night here, let's pump some AI artwork into these other sections. So let's go over here and see if we can get AI, just to finish it off. Draw a human, let's make it a female. Wizard in a fantasy, in a stylized fantasy art style. She is wearing a tattered robe. She is carrying a spell book under her arm. She is pointing and casting a spell with her hand. Draw this with a white background. Okay, let's see what happens. We'll do this as a tall one. I didn't specify like hair color or anything like that. So let's just see what it comes up with. Ooh, some interesting ones. I like that. Not too keen on that. No. And no. But I do like that, so I'm going to keep that. And again, this is just first pass, right? Like I'm not going to spend a bazillion hours. I just want to create some imagination reflexes in people. Drag this down up here. I'm going to go magic user. Guess I'm going with a title, and let's draw the word magic user underneath. Well, first let's actually go and grab the magic user description. Here we go. Yeah, that's crazy. 3 done. Okay, so that's a lot of description here, but what I usually do is I just basically go in and it doesn't, unfortunately, because it's pulling it off of a PDF. Man, I'm hungry right now. Does anybody ever get hungry late at night? Am I the only one? I did a research paper on it once called nighttime eating disorder. It's actually a thing. I have it. Don't know why. It might be equated to my brain activity. The other question that's going to come up, I think, at some point is, you know, how do I... Well, I've basically reverted to playing theater of the mind with all my games right now, because I felt finally, after, you know, what, 4 years since I've been doing this, is that I'm not engaging with them because, believe it or not, the technology, which is the screen, is actually in the way between engagement. So they're either, you know, they're actually using YouTube or whatever it is while they're playing. These are all younger students too, by the way, not just adults, but they're using online tools as well, but they're not focused on the gameplay. They're not focused on my voice because there's additional technology barriers between me and them. So I've just stopped using virtual tables, and it seems to be going better, but character sheet access is a thing. So the next step is to somehow get these people into using written character sheets or character sheets on a screen in a PDF form without having to rely on a virtual table. I've started using dddice.com. DD Dice? Yeah, maybe it's DD Dice. Let me take a look and see. It's dddice.com. So if you haven't checked these guys out, it's a very cool setup. You basically can just roll digital dice, and everybody can join the room. And it's basically like a dice rolling table, essentially. It just allows you to roll dice, and everybody can partake in it. They have free dice as well as paid dice. I've actually bought a set of dice. But yeah, the benefit of this versus virtual tables, in some cases some do but some don't, but this is all shared. So if you're in this room with me right now, you can actually see all these dice rolling across the screen. So what I usually do is I'll run Theater of the Mind, but have this queued up on the table. So it's kind of interesting. So let's see here. I have to have something before I go to bed tonight. I have a feeling I'm not going to make it, or I won't have my stomach will be in pain. Thank you for the people who are watching right now. I appreciate it. I appreciate you. You complete me. Maybe not that much. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to go through and edit that out. But here, I'm going to leave now because I'm getting hungry. It's almost 12. I'm going to create this. So at the bottom of every page for these, I create like a stylized graphic to showcase the class. So I've done that with the elf. You'll see there, elf, and then I did it with the thief, and I did it with the cleric. So now let's just do it for the magic user. So we'll create an AI prompt. Let's go here, and what I do is I type in the word, draw the word magic user. In a stylized fantasy art style. Use inspiration from magic. Oh, and draw on a white background. Go wide. Go wide. See how this works out. Too much purple. Well, that one's kind of cool. Yeah, let's go with that. Nice. Well, thank you for tuning in to my my first live stream in God knows how long. I'm just going to keep building on it. Maybe I might do some of these, but I haven't really thought about the kind of content that I'm going to bring to live streaming. Mainly, like I said, my whole reason for doing this is to just bridge that gap between my YouTube videos and myself, so that people get to know me a little bit better, as well as sort of my ideas and what I like to talk about. In a kind of a casual environment. So tonight I was just sitting here doing some stuff, talking to you, getting some work done at the same time, and it also keeps me company. I don't have a huge social circle, so nowadays I work from home and I own my own business. So my ability to make friends and have like a coworkers and stuff is just null. So anytime I can feel like I'm connecting with people in a social way, that's important to me. So thank you for tuning in. I appreciate it. And yeah, stay tuned. Maybe we'll do another one of these tomorrow night as well. We'll see. So in the meantime, I hope you're all having fun playing Dungeons and Dragons out there, regardless of what version you're playing. And we'll talk to you soon.